Hello model railroaders, welcome to the new year. My name's Dave, welcome back to the layout. Now, from the last video I did regarding cutting foam, something I did forget to say is no matter how straight and square you think you have cut the foam, you have not. And I've cut probably about 8, 16, 24, about 30 feet length of foam, and I can definitely tell you I'd never cut any of it straight, even though I'm using a straight edge. That's because I don't know if you can see the little waviness here in the piece, and it's definitely not level side to side. So that's just something like there's a bit of a dip right here, and this is supposed to be 6 inches even all the way across. So just be aware. Now I was using an oscillating tool with a sanding pad on it, and I was using that to try and level them out side to side anyway. We've also got these two here, and as you can see by the gap down through here, you know, is kind of difficult to get foam to cut square like a piece of wood. And like there's a little dip right here that you know, the knife just wants to bend, no matter how you do it or just how your arm positions, as depending on where in the cutting stroke you are. It's just the way it works. The other thing that could be done is to clamp 2 straight edges on either side and then take a hot wire tool. Woodland Scenics has one that comes to mind, and drag it along the where the wire is contacting both straight edges and peeling off the layer of foam. That'd be another way to do it, to kind of oversize cut it so that you can get that tool in place. But that's not what this video is about. This video is to kind of give you a look at the progress that I've been able to make on the logging run. Now, as I showed you here, I've just got these stacked up just for space, but I've got this section tapering down to whatever dimension that is, and then from that dimension down to 1/2 inch here. So that will, depending on how things go, will continue from this piece down to here, and then we will go ahead and use one of the little Atlas bridges to bridge across the lower track, and then follow around the inside and then down the back wall there, probably to about where the silos are, right across from me there in the background. So that will give a, well, I'd have to look at my notes because I can't remember exactly the gradient. It will give, let me just glance over my shoulder here. 1.7% grade. So that's where it will be. Now, the logging run. Yes, the dreaded logging run. Some of what I wanted to do will work, some will not. What will work is I had to dig into the mountain to get my 32-inch space from behind that turnout there. and this turnout is approximately where it is going to be, and this is on the flat 6-inch riser, and then the transition of the 6-inch to the 5-inch, and that there's that turnout, and then from the 5-inch, of course, transitioning down, that will run that way. Now, part of my conundrum is what I wanted to do, I don't have the room for. And the reason for that is I really wanted to put a reversing loop, or I guess I should properly term it as a Y, to take the locomotive and turn its direction 180 degrees. Now, looking at the orientation, at least if I want to salvage what I've got, the foam there, and that foam is pretty much angling off the mainline track. It looks pretty good, so I don't really want to majorly modify that. So if I follow-ish along, I could strip the top 1-inch layer that has been sculpted off and put on a new piece, and then sculpt that later just to change the track angle. But right now I'm more, I guess, looking at that I just really don't have enough room for the Y. Now, the bit of curve track you see was from my old layout, and that is about as tight of a curve as I want to do, and I just do not have the space to utilize that, because I'm going to have to come off of a turnout to curve back around to another Y turnout, and there's just not enough room up there to accomplish that without getting into a really stupidly tight turn. So the Y is gone. The preference I had of reversing the direction of the locomotive so that it was traveling in a front forward up the incline and a front forward back down the incline is gone. So what I believe I will do is actually run the empty logging cars up by backing up the incline and then going forward down the incline with the loaded cars. So it is what it is, but that's part of achieving your goal, that you have to make compromises. Now, what I'm going to try and do, the track here is roughly following the contour of the foam that already exists, and that will come out, and then I've got to cut a piece of foam to join up from this 2-inch section here, and then that'll curve around and join up with that track there. Now what I'm going to try and do is, way back in the old layout, I had dug a crevice into the foam that I was going to use as a ravine, and that's kind of the remnant that you see there, though part of that was me digging foam out of the way so that I could actually find the screw heads to remove the plywood from the cross braces of the old layout. So part of it is purpose to tear when I had to tear the layout down. The other part was intended, which is the in that white section with the very top pink foam. That was the top of the ravine, and then it went down. And in the old layout I had this trestle bridge actually off the edge of the layout, supported just on its own in a corner, and the track actually that right in front of where that turnout has been installed, that actually went over the trestle bridge, because I had to loop the dog bone around, so to speak, and then it went into the curve. And way back in one of my very earlier videos on my YouTube video page, I've got some film, I guess, where I taped the old layout. So if you're interested, you can always go back and watch that vid. However, we're at where we are now. So the plan is to work that trestle bridge, which is at a 6-inch height, luckily, so I don't have to really modify it, work it into that ravine. And then this area, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do as far as mountain contouring, but my goal is just to get the foam up so that I can get the track down, and that's the main goal. And then any spaces I'll just fill in. I want to use some different techniques other than the foam. I want to give using screen, I guess the nylon screen, a try. So I'll want to wad newspaper or whatever up in the hole and put the screen over top, and then lay plaster cloth over that to create a shell. I want to try some different scenery techniques that I've seen on the various videos, like Dave Frary, who, interestingly enough, I met a couple times at the Fine Scale Model Expo, I believe, that's usually held in November-ish. I've mentioned in previous videos. Nice guy, but you know, I've watched or own all of his videos there on doing scenery and mountains and such and so forth. So I'm going to try and put some different techniques into practice. One of his other videos that's good is doing casting, and at some point later on, hopefully this year, we'll get into that. I've made a pressure pot that I'm going to cover and actually do some casting, so we'll see how that goes. But I just wanted to give you a bit of an idea that I've been able to progress a little bit, but the ideas of what the want has changed to what is actually possible. So from this point, I'll say good night and see you on the next video, so that I can get some more foam cut and be able to give you another progress update as the week progresses. So bye for now, and hopefully you'll have a chance to utilize get some time on your layout. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Hopefully you'll have a chance to get down onto your layout and either run trains or continue delaying track, or doing some scenery, or doing some super detail, or building some buildings. You know, it's all different aspects of the hobby that we enjoy, which is why we're in the hobby. So we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.